Sometimes I like to live in my head like, oh.
Full disclosure, I'm a Red Sox fan. I have been since the late 90s, which means I've spent decades absorbing exactly one lesson about Boston guys who think they understand New York. And while I don't care for New York, Boston guys, they don't understand it. And New Yorkers will never let Boston guys forget it. Yet apparently, no one has told that to Dave Portnoy. Because this week on Fox News, the Barstool Sports founder says he's seriously considering running against New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani. And he's pitching that, quote, I've had a real job, I've done real things, unlike these clown politicians who have never had a job and never been in the real world for a day.
The Barstool Fund, pizza places, so it wasn't for show. I've had a real job, I've done real things, unlike these clown politicians who have never had a job and never been in the real world for a day.
Right. Think about that. Zohran Mamdani worked as a foreclosure prevention counselor in Queens, helping low-income homeowners keep their actual homes before he even ran for office. Dave Portnoy started a blog about sports gambling and eating pizza the wrong way. And look, I'm not saying one of those is more valuable to society than the other, but I am saying that only one of those guys has ever stood between a family and their eviction notice. And it's not the one threatening to run for mayor. It's the actual mayor. Of course, Portnoy then explained exactly who he thinks is responsible for Mamdani's win, saying the people voting for these people that just won are like these young, white, Ivy League, elitist women.
But the people voting for these people who just won are like these young, white, like Ivy League-ish, elite-ish women. It's like, who are they? Like, they'll never vote for me. They'll never believe in common sense.
When you're unhappy, you want to make other people unhappy, and that's the key.
It's a wild, wild thing to say when you yourself are a wealthy white guy from Boston who splits his time between Florida and Nantucket, weighing whether or not to run an entire city you don't currently live in full-time. And that doesn't touch on Dave Portnoy's treatment of women throughout his career. And about this geography problem, New York City Democrats, they outnumber Republicans roughly 5-1. The last Republican to win the mayor race was not really a Republican, he's Michael Bloomberg. And that was over 2 decades ago. And he immediately became an independent because even he knew the math. Portnoy isn't just walking into that math as a Republican-leaning independent. He's walking into it as a diehard Boston Red Sox fan in a city where loving the Yankees is religion. You couldn't design a worse starting position if you tried. And this isn't his first dust-up with Mamdani this month, because when the Knicks won their first championship in 53 years, an actual once-in-a-generation moment for the city, Portnoy had the nerve to complain that Mamdani was hogging the spotlight for celebrating with the team. He's also called Mamdani a professional actor and a communist, and threatened more than once to move Barstool's offices out of New York City entirely if Mamdani was the winner. Mamdani is the mayor, and the offices, as far as anyone can tell, haven't moved. And when you talk to Dave Portnoy about his support of Donald Trump, his own account for why he ever voted for Trump in the first place, it's worth talking about, because he's told NPR on the record, walking things back, he's told that his vote was more of an indictment of the Democrats than an endorsement of Trump's actual politics, and that he's personally now pro-abortion rights and more lenient than the administration on immigration. He's still an effing Republican. This isn't a guy with a deep, coherent right-wing platform. It's a guy who just feels culturally alienated. He found a comfortable home rooting against the left in general, and now he's positioning himself as a centrist. He's not, because he's attacking some of the most popular policies this New York mayor has had, like the rent freezes, fair relief, actual stuff that works. And like I said, I'm not even going to touch all of the other allegations about how crappy of a human Dave Portnoy is, because that could be its own video. But then Dave Portnoy tried his little heart out to drop a little philosophy on the audience, attributing a line to Plato about how if you don't do your public service, you're doomed to be governed by, quote, basically dummies.
thought. I was saying to you that old Plato quote, if you don't do your public service and run for office, you're doomed to be run by basically dummies.
Right.
And right now, I feel like that's what's happening.
I can assure you that that is not what Plato said, and I'm not really sure how that line's supposed to go. But sure, let's run with Boston sports pizza guy badly misquotes Plato to justify a vanity mayoral run. That headline writes itself. And look, this heat has been coming for anyone in the manosphere right now. These guys built their audiences writing cultural backlash, and they got Trump elected. And now they're watching genuinely popular, charismatic, young, left-of-center politicians like Mamdani rack up real wins and real approval numbers, and people like them. And instead of reconsidering anything, they're reaching for the most theatrical responses. I personally, with my podcast and my pizza reviews, will fix this. None of this is about winning, it's about content. That's all it is. Mamdani, he's not even up for election until 2029. We've got time, Dave. Subscribe, because if anyone turns one bite, everybody knows the rules, into a office run, look, as much as I don't like the guy, I will not miss a single second of that comedy gold. Trust me.